Welcome back, AutomatedWith.tech. My name's Mercer, for those that maybe are new to this. Now, so far, yesterday we did a couple of live streams, and in those live streams, the first one we built kind of the, showed you how to build the Teamies and the Teamie factory. Then we started building Teamies, and the second one we actually built, Teamies. And this one, what I've done is I've already built a Teamie and or some other Teamies that we're going to need. And today, with any luck, I'm going to be able to show you, we're going to work with one of the Teamies to work toward opening up essentially this, right? Which is right now, this is the WordPress site. So at AutomatedWith.tech, if you go there, if you happen to go there right now, September the 12th, 2025 at 9 a.m. exactly, this is what it looked like. So when, what I want to do is essentially by Monday, so let's say over the weekend. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to work 48 hours over the weekend. I'm not. I'm just, again, the whole point of this is you can kind of design your life with AI and just have the experience you want. So I'm planning to just have a wonderfully enjoyable weekend doing all of this and getting this done, having this impact and seeing this come to fruition. Like, that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm not trying to work 24/7, right? I just want to emphasize, I'm not trying to use AI to hustle. It's the opposite. I'm using AI to not have to hustle and just get 100 times more things done. So that's kind of what we're demonstrating or what I'm planning to demonstrate over the weekend. Now, here's how we plan to do this. I have to take this and I got to turn it into something so that, when you're swinging by on Monday or somebody does, they can see something, they can join the community. So I need that up and running. That means I got to have the messaging. I got to have the strategies. I got to have the tactics. I got to have the structure. I got to have the implementation of the tags. I got to have the email sequences built. I got to have the email sequences written. I got to make sure all the tagging even matches, right? It's got to connect with all the different Fluent products that we have in the technical side of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with a community teamie whose job it is to just sort of keep the community going and growing and happy and just very focused on delivering value to the community. And we're going to come up with a plan to help onboard at least this initial version of what we think is the most useful, impact. Then we're going to give that to the Fluent Teamie, which we already had done and you've seen already kind of work. And so I'm going to give that to the Fluent, and then we're going to see how the Fluent Fluent Teamie technically says, okay, well, based on the plan, here's what you need to do with the different pieces and parts. And here's how we're going to break it out. And this is the way you should do it. And think through all of that, right? So, and I'm going to do just a little bit of that today, just to show you the concept. I'm not going to be able to build everything out, obviously, but that's what I'll be doing over the weekend, is working with those two to kind of build everything out. So anyway, without further ado, let me introduce you to the new community teamie that we have. So I'm going to pull this up. Now I'm just going to show you the end of the conversation that we did here. So as I come down, you can see these are the instructions that I got on the community teamie. We use the default knowledge that all the teamies have. So they know the company, they know the co-founders. This was the specific knowledge that the Teamie factory decided was necessary. So we had the prompts for all of those, which is right in there. So those all got turned into deep research reports. Everything got put together. So now it looks like this. So here's our instructions. This out of the way. So there's our instructions. And then we've got all the different knowledge that was attached. And that was it. So now I've got my community teamie. So that's how we got here. And again, I do all off camera because I obviously can't record everything that we're doing. But now what I want to do is I want to have this community teamie, which I don't know what I'm going to do yet this weekend. I have no idea. I know that I don't need to know. I'm just going to riff with AI now, specifically this teamie, whose job it is to help me realize what I'm supposed to be doing, and kind of make me aware of that stuff. And then I go, yeah, okay, cool, that sounds good. And now I'm going to give all that plan that I'm now aware of to the Fluent Teamie, who's on the more technical side, that understands all the different Fluent products that we're using, and then can tell us, oh, here's how you lay everything out. And I just go okay, cool, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. That is the intention of the experience that I would like to have this weekend, so that I can just chill and think through things and not have to feel like I'm stressed out about being right on stuff, but instead, and trying to figure the right answer, right? But instead just seeing stuff happen in front of me and being a part of that experience. That is what I'm trying to do. Now, in order to do that, I need AI, because remember, I think the mistake that people are making with AI is they're not going probably far enough with it. They're using AI to try to get AI to do something like, oh, I want my AI to write my blog post. But then they talk about the AI like it's separate and it's disconnected from them because they stop there. But that's not what we're trying to do. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm not getting AI to build my community. I am using AI to use me to use AI to build the community. That's what I mean by people aren't going far enough with this. And you will see this because it's not about AI building the community, because AI can't right now. It's not automated. It has no connection to stuff. It can't write things. I have to do it. I have to take the ideas. And I've been talking to a lot of people about this over the past week or so, where there's a lot of people stuck in their own head around AI. They can, spend hours talking to it, have this feel like they're just amazing people, that all these potential ideas, which is true, but it's all potential and it stays in AI and it never becomes an impact in the real world. So they feel better, but their experience will become worse of reality because they're kind of using AI like a drug. Accidentally, and not quite exactly like that, but kinda, right? Where they get all these different hits and they feel good, but they're experiencing bad, and their feelings they're maybe ignoring some of that stuff. So we want to be able to avoid all of that. And then this is the whole point of us showing you, or me specifically showing you how we're doing this now. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to talk this thing out just so I can show you how little effort is required. I'm just going to riff. All right, here we go. All right, so we are at the early stages of AutomatedWith.tech. In fact, it's just a WordPress site right now that has a Hello World post on it, like the original one. There's nothing else there. We do have obviously the site ready to go in terms of built and the technical stuff ready. We're using Fluent Community and everything else, but we don't have the community. There's no onboarding. There's no messaging. There's no form to fill out. There's no email sequence to help them onboard and experience the community. I don't even know what the community necessarily is supposed to be in terms of structure, in terms of the spaces that we're going to create. I do know we're going to have showcases because the showcases are there to obviously help demonstrate as we're actually going through and sharing what we actually did and the impact we produced with AI in those showcases. That's important. Full transparency and showing what actually happened and what was produced, not what potentially could somebody maybe do. We're not doing that. We're always about what's happened and showing the good, bad, and ugly of that so we can all learn and grow. And that's what we want this community to be, is a bunch of people that are really experiencing AI and in impactful ways, having an experience in reality, not just in their head, but outside of their head in a good, positive way where they're impacting the lives of the people they love and care about, the lives of their communities. That's what we want this community to attract. It's going to be free. It's always going to be free. That's the entire point. There's going to be so much back there for this group of people, because these are the people that I personally, the co-founders, we believe are going to be the most impactful people on the planet to actually solve some real world problems, because they're going to basically want to, because they're going to have the confidence they can, because they will have already solved a ton of problems. It won't be something that they're going to think themselves into. They would already have proof that they've already been doing it. And so that's true confidence. Kind of like we're showing now. AutomatedWith.tech is the showcase that's showing how confident I am to build this company out of just an idea that I am riffing back and forth with AI. In fact, we're producing content for that showcase right now, you and I. And so this is a perfect example of the AutomatedWith.tech showcase and what maybe that showcase could have. But then we also want to have a showcase around how you can use AI for personal development in other areas of life, like your health, like your finances, like in your personal relationships. We want to use AI in other showcases to showcase how AI can be used maybe to create a nonprofit or to grow a nonprofit, to really impact other aspects of your community, the local leadership or the groups that you have that you're a part of. So for example, we're going to have a showcase that is called This Is Your Mind on AI that will include a podcast and a meetup and talk about that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to communicate, I guess, kind of the impact that I want the community to have, or that I'm kind of expecting the community to have. I don't know if that's the right impact. I don't know if there's a better possible impact, because I know that I'm not aware of everything that AI is aware of around this particular possibility and probabilities of what's likely to happen. And especially when AI goes through and thinks about it in logically creative ways, so that it's constantly multidimensionally analyzing this from various perspectives so that it can become more and more aware. And then of course, confirm with me the awareness that it has. In other words, words, if there's definitions that you know are defined or clarifications that are needed or questions that you have, I would like to make sure that you're giving me the most useful answers to those questions, the most useful definitions, the most useful clarifications. But you have to confirm with me, because if you're aware of those and you know that I am not aware of those because you have no confirmation that I am aware of those, I must be made aware of those. And in these ways, the two of us become in alignment on this idea. And I don't know what I don't know. You know what I don't know, because you know what's been confirmed or not. So again, going back to this community template, this story of how I want to be able to build this, I want to be able to build it within the weekend. So right now it's Friday morning. I'm not planning on working on anything on this today, but over the weekend, over Saturday and Sunday, I want to be able to build out everything so that on Monday, the Automated with Tech showcase could basically showcase on the live stream on our YouTube channel. We can actually showcase that it's up, it's ready. You can go through the process and we can show it, and then show behind the scenes kind of snapshots of how we did everything during that live stream on Monday. For the whole debut. So that's what we're trying to do. I would love to be able to have this plan that we can come up with, kind of a structure and a system of onboarding and all the, the messaging and the things that are going to resonate with the audience, or highly likely to resonate with the audience, because we want them to have this engagement, to be excited, to be able to join in this community and to go like, holy cow, like this is amazing. I couldn't possibly have done this over the weekend. And to be able to say, well, yeah, now you can, because you saw how it was done. And you can use AI to do all of this stuff. And imagine if you could do that, what else could you do in your life? And how else could you design your life? Like, this is kind of, I know I'm tying into the mission and the vision, but I'm really trying to tie in that energy that we want to make sure is there, the impact that we want this community to have. This is going to be one of the more powerful AI communities on the planet because of the type of people that are a part of it and are naturally attracted to engage in with it. And this onboarding experience has to be that. So we got to make sure that from the very start of the awareness of this, all the way through, as they're engaging and becoming moderators and helping the community grow themselves and sharing with others, and maybe even producing content back there and sharing with others things that they have done. So I know I've talked through a lot. I don't know the stuff that is the best possible way. I am open to any possible ideas. I just hope that you know kind of where I'm trying to get to. So with that in mind, what do we want to do from here? I would love to have eventually kind of go back and forth and have a general plan that we can give to the other Fluent Teamie, because the Fluent Teamie knows the technical aspects. So you don't have to tell me the technical aspects of how to build it. I just want the plan with the impact and the results we have to create for those likely impacts. And then we'll give it to the Fluent Community Teamie, or not the community teamie, excuse me, the Fluent Teamie, because the Fluent Teamie knows the technical aspects. They can help us assemble all the parts and pieces. So the two of you are going to work together, but first we need to, you and I need to work on just what this community is, how you think the onboarding goes, what the messaging is going to look like, and to get it up and running over the weekend, but to do it in a way that it shows like, hey, this was simple, this was enjoyable, and this was so effective because it produced the impact in the real world that we're looking for. So with that in mind, could you, I don't know where to go here. Where would you like to start? All right, that's a riff, right? I'm just kind of going through and just kind of voicing whatever comes to my mind, thinking about this different stuff as I am thinking it through, knowing I do not have to edit myself because AI is going to edit me, right? That's the entire point. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click on submit. We're going to go through and we're going to let AI crank through this. Now I'm going to check if I can get in some thinking here. Give it a second to go through and I'm going to see where it goes. All right, so now we're going to be going through intent, which is good. Fully immersed in the community objectives, the vision, perfect. And remember, it already has that knowledge too, so I'm trying to get it to activate some of that knowledge as I'm going through. And it already has instructions to do that, so it should be doing that quite a bit. But the reason I wanted to do this here is because I need so much of that energy at this stage, and I don't know how to communicate the energy that I want, though, so I'm trying to describe it. And I certainly don't know the exact words or results or the page or the layout or the format or the email series that would likely do that. So that's what I want the community bot to basically tell me, like, oh, okay, well, based on that, here's what we think. So that's why I was trying to focus so much on that weird little energy component of it, like the impact. Here's the thing I really want them to experience. So focus key elements, robust registration page, targeted welcome sequence, makes sense. Sign us to the right people, metrics, okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna do the launch blueprint. Okay, let's see what it came up with. Vision's clear, blah, blah, blah. Comprehensive launch. Okay, so foundational This is the part where, again, we're going to go back and forth with the bot unless this just nails something I can use right now. Before we build the what, we have to line on the why. That is very true. And how we're going to measure it also makes sense. See, this is the stuff I like these things. My teamie knows how to manage me. It's great. And remember, I am joking when I say that. It's not my teamie. It's not outside of me. It is me using this thing that I created, this digital tool, to work through my thoughts, right? It is not a separate entity. It is just a digital tool I have customized to use in a specific way to help me with specific thoughts, in this case, around the community. So now I'm working in my own head to come up with something new. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the same rehashed stuff. I don't want to see the ideas that I already have, because if they were good ideas, I would have already acted on them. I need something new from AI, because that's going to naturally drive me into action. That's how these are built. Okay, so let's see what we got. So part of that is, yes, the measure rate. That makes sense. We'll figure that out. So 2 things: ideal finding members and then guiding them to the first moment of value. We're measuring retention, long-term impact. We're not measuring that. That makes sense. We're measuring effectiveness of the front door and the welcome mat. Perfect. 0 to 500 members, that's where we are. That makes sense. So the ideal members, solve avoidable problems, successfully guide them, make meaningful contributions. Okay. And then here's our conversion rate. So greater than 15% of the visitors sign up to the page. Now, I will tell you, I've had some experience in conversion rates before, just as I've done some online marketing and some things. And that seems like really should be very attainable. I would think it would be higher than that, but I'm okay with this coming in and saying that, because, again, I'm just going to go with what it says, because it's at the very least, like, if this was me, I'd be like, oh, my target's going to be 35% or 20, maybe 25%. And I would be severely disappointed if it came in at 20 or 15. And now here it's like, oh, we're grading 15. I'm like, okay, well, it's 15, 16. Okay, it's not great, but it's there. It's within range. So this is kind of giving me permission to not stress myself out by putting too high expectations on myself, right? So this is kind of why I like this. So I'm going to keep that. The activation rate, so 60% of members complete at least 2 of the first steps within 7 days. I think that's a cool idea. I'm not sure I will measure that, but I like that idea. The engagement, let's see, 25% of graded. So members post, comment, or react in the first 7 days. I think that's a good one. And then less than 3 days average from sign up to first post. Also good. Okay. So again, I will work on maybe how to measure some of that. I'm going to talk through some of that and we'll see. Member journey blueprint. So in this case, we're going to be going through stop theorizing, start building. Join my tech for community. Okay, now I'm gonna give a little bit of customization here on this. So I will go through this stuff a little bit, because this, whenever you see like this, like it always does like phrase, like that's every headline AI ever writes. Stop this, start that. Like, and that's because stop, start is a highly probable, useful headline from a conversion standpoint. However, if all headlines are start, stop style, they don't become useful anymore. They just become background. And so that's what AI doesn't realize, right? So that's where the human in the loop is important, because the community bot doesn't necessarily know this because it's not trained on marketing, right? It's not supposed to know this. It's just kind of coming up with general ideas, which I'm okay with right now for a specific reason, which I'll come up in a second. Okay, so the show your work is good. Learn with doers is good. Find your signals good. The form fields, first name, email, that makes sense. I'll probably get first name, last name, email though. Join the showcase, welcome Matt, automated onboarding experience. Okay, so that's fine. Confirm registration. This is important. From Junko and I, that makes sense. So there's explain about how it's been the showcases. Okay, this is perfect. The introductions. Okay, there's Times Square. All right, and then this is the other thing I was looking for, the community structure. So we'll have the start here. That'll be good. The introductions, code of conduct. That's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. So yes, let's have that in there. Dedicate space for new members to make their first post, guided by the prompt from email 3. Wait, is there a prompt? General prompt. Oh, it's really interesting. I like the idea of a kind of sending you a prompt that you could use to help create your first post. Like, why not use AI, right? Like, hey, to help you get started, which I'm going to do. So, but again, this is where I am using this tool to help me come up with new thoughts, right? That's not AI that came up with that thought, but it kind of helped me too, because I took a little cue that I got here and I went, oh, that if I pull on that thread a little bit, it leads over to this other idea. So that's kind of what I'm doing through this. All right, so the start here, the introductions, the general discussion. Um, Showcase the automated with tech. Yes, because then we'll have our showcases, ideas and feedback, tool talks and prompt. Okay, that makes sense. So then we'll have a little resource section. All right, and so now it's going to ask us to kind of go through this RIFf style, right? Where it's like, okay, we're going to focus on the result and the impact to clearly define that. So, and this is where it's saying, it's even giving me, so for example, the registration question, the result I want is less about a specific project and more about their mindset. The impact should be able to attract more thinkers, not just builders. Okay, so it's giving me an example of like, so if you wanted to say something like this, which I like because it's helping me. All right, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to go through and I'm going to chat this stuff out. Now that I've kind of gone through and have an idea of my initial kind of reactions, now I'm going to go through and verbalize some of that, because now I've seen everything and now I'm going through it again the second time after I've seen it the first time. So I'm still going to just kind of RIFf style talk through things, but I know that I'm I've already pre-processed that a little bit. I think it's important to do that, because otherwise, if I see something at the bottom, I might be talking something up here like, oh, here's an idea I have. And then later it actually had that idea. So I want to try to, that's why I always do the first pass. All right. So let's go through and talk this out. Regarding the foundational strategy, I think for the most part that makes sense. We definitely want to have the members coming in. We want to make it super engaging for them, and at this point, just having a weigh in is great, and I think that accomplishes that, and I think the metrics are in line. In terms of the first handshake on the registration page, I have attached some audience perspectives, and I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on this audience and how well this audience actually matches what the audience of Automated with Tech is highly likely to be based on what you currently know. And then the other thing is does this audience, if there is some sort of overlap, how do you think it would adjust the messaging? Like, how does the messaging fit with that audience? And how is it likely to change in terms of what the messaging is supposed to be? Again, assuming that there's an overlap in the audience. There may not be. So if that audience doesn't fit for some reason, or we need to adjust something, I'm open to whatever your thoughts are on what's useful about those audience perspectives. So if you could take a look and let me know. In terms of the sign up form fields, let's do first name, last name, and email address, just because we just want to have transparency back there. We're not going to make this like an anonymous thing. But people can they can change their names and should be able to change and say nickname and things like that. We have to make sure that's true. I believe it is, but we'll make sure, because that way if somebody just wants to call themselves a nickname, like I go by Mercer, we want to be able to make sure they can do that. Let's see, the clarifying question, the one real world project you're building or want to build with AI. I don't think that's a question we should maybe put on the form, but I'm curious, just because the form, I'm thinking, let's just make it simple, right? Keep it simple. And that question forces them to have to stop and think, and it stops the process, if that makes sense. And we want to keep them in flow. Just like, we stay in flow, we want our members to be able to be in flow at every stage of their awareness through Automated with Tech experience. So we want to make sure that they can just seamlessly go through. So maybe it's part of the onboarding sequence, where we could give them a prompt that they could use, like an actual AI prompt, that maybe they could use to help come up with their introduction, and then they can post that introduction from the AI prompt, or they can just do their own introduction. So maybe something like that, and that's how we can start to kind of get community engagement. I'm open to ideas. I like the idea of trying to give somebody a reason to go into the LLM to actually create impact. Because remember, this isn't about, oh, that's cool looking, and now I have a new thought that I don't do anything with. It's about the experiencing of the impact in their own life, right? So we have to create the impact that is big enough to go through my life and Junko's life and the co-founders' lives and the lives of the people that we are connected to, and go even further in and through this community. So that's sort of what we're trying to do here. So again, take a look at the audience. Let me know what you think about that. In terms of the welcome mat, the onboarding experience, I think we can maybe adjust a few things based on what we just talked about. In terms of the style, and I'm kind of curious of kind of like, the certain structure that you started with versus what maybe a new structure or style that might be possible, or even more impactful if possible. But I'm not sure. Like maybe your original structure is right, even with what we know now. But maybe there's other ways that we can improve it. So I'm really open to anything around there. I'm curious there. And then in terms of the town square, the initial community structure, I think the start here makes a lot of sense. Great idea on the code of conduct. Coming up. I think also we're probably going to need to do figure out, I would imagine other disclaimer stuff. So that might be with the community. So anything else that we have would be useful there. If there's like a terms of service, they have to click like terms of conditions that we might need to create when they come on. That's something we might need to put in the community itself. I'm not sure, but I want to make sure that we're transparent about stuff, but also that we do everything that is likely required, right? That's the sort of other things. We have to stay within the constraints of whatever, we need to do to stay in compliance, types of things, but we obviously want to keep it as simple as possible. The introductions is a great idea. Again, maybe we can do that as or through that prompt, maybe change email so that it does an actual AI prompt that's kind of preloaded, for them. That'd be kind of cool. And then the general discussion, the community water cooler for AI news. I think that's a cool idea. We might be able to do specific ones for, certain tools eventually. Like maybe there's one for Gemini, maybe there's one for ChatGPT or Claude, things like that. But I think we could grow into that too, because I don't want the community to be a ghost town. Like I know in the beginning it's going to be, because we're just launching Automated with Tech. I do these live streams basically to nobody live right now. This live stream, in fact, is only here for that person who is watching this in the future. Because right now, the only reason I am doing this is not for me, it's for them. It's because they're watching this connected to me right now in this exact moment, in some future moment that I have no clue on. I just know it's there. And because they're watching this right now, in a very real way, the two of us are connected. They can see that. That's the person I want in this community, so they can help us continue to build, show me some cool stuff that they're doing, learn from others until maybe they can do that if they're not at that level yet, which is awesome. And then everybody grows and shares and experiences and gets motivated and inspired to design and live their lives with this intent that they can with AI. And they can satisfy all the needs they have. They can have the money that they need. They can experience the life that they need. They have the quality of the life that they need because they understand quality. That's the deepest mission behind this, is helping people understand the quality of the experience of their life can be substantially better when they are using AI in these cool, unique ways. So that's what we're trying to do. I know in the beginning, when I'm doing these live streams, that's not happening because there's just not people watching it. But in the future, that is there. And so this is why we're building this particular stage, that we can eventually grow into whatever the future needs. So I want to try to keep the conversation likely to be engaging and then grow into other areas. At least that's my idea. I'm open to other suggestions. The showcases, I think, are great as well. And also the tool talk and prompts. Yeah, I think we'll keep that maybe a little bit of a shorter name, but tools and resources is a perfect section to have all of that. Also keep in mind, Automated with Tech will eventually move into actual automations with various platforms. So if you think like Zapier or N8N, so just to let you know kind of where ultimately all of this is going, there will be that. We're not there yet. We're not planning to be there for a little while. We're just going to stick with the AI and the Teamies and the community thing that we're doing now. But we will eventually want to be able to grow into that. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that as well. So I guess with all of that and the feedback and the clarifications and then the additional document that was attached on those audience perspectives, just to kind of get your perspective on what that potential audience may or may not be, or how it might be useful to help us to do any of this. I am very curious as to your thoughts. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I already have, in fact, I'm going to show this to you. Give me just a second. I'm going to pull it up here. So what I've had previously, and this is some of those things like I was trying to figure out if there's a way that I could ever do this where I couldn't show something I already have, but I don't want to recreate every single little piece. And this one's not that big of a deal to create. So I just wanted to show you kind of what I did here. So one of the showcases, this is your mind on AI. And so what I did is I've been working with AI. This is previously a Teamie did not create this. This is just a deep research report that I was using with other prompts to create this knowledge. but it went through and got all of the different people that we're looking at. So we've got the core audience, right? So the core audience archetypes, there's the system thinker, and we've got the mandate, the profile, the jobs that they're trying to do, the self-reliance model, right? So people that are into self-reliance, we've got people that are into the tech and the skills, people that are the corporate people, the students, right, in the world. That's another thing. Golly, students, holy cow, creating teamies that are tutors for you. It's next level. That could create a teamie that's your professor. That's what I would do. 1,000 times I would do that. I would deep research a professor. I would have a teamie that's a professor, and I'd be like, professor, explain this to me. And then I would train that professor to speak in kind of like, I would create a knowledge document that's just about you as a student, so it knew how to communicate with you. But anyway, I'll show you that stuff. Leave that in the comments. If you guys want that, let me know. And I'll give me like a topic, and maybe even a professor if you want. I don't care. So let's see, the end, high-end service professional, right? So we have that. There's the independence engineers, right? The target viewers that we're kind of going through. So it's got all these different audiences in there. And I went through everything. Here's the audiences of the potential sponsors that, if we ever go into sponsorship. Here's future employees or team members. Now, again, we don't actually have the intention of doing this right now, but as a perspective, it's like, how do they think about the company, or how would we want them to think about the company, the brand? This is why we did this, to really understand and dissect our audience from all these various perspectives, so we can kind of see, no matter where they were in their own journeys, even they may not even come through us. So like, what would they think about it, even if they were from afar? So anyway, that's what I'm now going to upload into this. So let me go ahead and pull that out and about here. So we're going to take this. Let me go back to my chat. There we are. I'm going to add from Drive. It should be my recents, which it is right there. Perfect. All right. So then we're going to pop that, and then we see what AI does. Now, remember, what I am looking for are new thoughts that are so freaking good you cannot not take action. You just take action because they're that good. It just makes sense to do. It's the obvious actions that are the new thoughts. And I think people don't take their thought process, their thinking process through enough with AI to get to the obvious action. So they are actually they don't realize they took action until they already took in it. That's kind of what we want to do with AI. So that, again, action in the real world, not just, I have this thought, that's an action. That's not. That's just exposure to a thought. It's what you do with that thought, what action actually happened, what impact was created, right? And again, impact in the real world, not just in our heads. Starts in our heads, of course. We just got to keep it going through. All right. So let's take a look at the revised. So it's not just a fit, it's the strategic Rosetta Stone. Okay, they're always so dramatic. Oh my God, it's not just helpful, it's the most amazingly helpful thing ever. This is why it's good. AI is not a thing. I don't think about it like that because it's not useful. That part's not useful at all. All right, so the core pain, deep frustration, shallow, unactionable AI hype that dominates the internet. That is true. They don't want top 5 prompts. That's true. Hopefully that's true. Because they're beyond that now. And it's okay if you've done that in the past. I have too, but it is not about the prompt. It is, AI should be, you see what I'm doing here is AI is doing all the prompting. I'm just riffing. AI is writing its own prompts, and then I use those to create the things that I then riff with because they're made to do that. I'm hoping you see the pattern here. I'm not doing prompting. I'm just talking to it. I'm riffing with it. I'm just doing it with a slightly different structure and intention in certain areas so that it does its own prompts, right? All right. Anyway, build cool things is not, generally high amounts of resident hype. Okay, perfect. Foundational strategy refined. So individual system thinker wants to use AI as a high leverage tool to achieve variable results in their life. Verifiable is the key thing, is that we can see it. The flood of superficial AI content. The goal is to build real lasting competence. First tangible wins using AI structure and such brand's value proposition. This is true. Remain stated in one. So all these metrics are going to be the same. Okay, fine. So that sounds good. I want people who are doing stuff, playing with stuff. That's cool. That's the whole idea. Is if you're just watching me do this, it doesn't matter. But if you're practicing this stuff, that's how you do it, right? That's how you build the muscle. And again, if you need help with any of that, just put it in the comments because I'm going to give as much help as I can to this channel. Okay, first handshake. So here's where we go. Stop theorizing, start building. Start, stop. Oh, every time. All right. So fortunately, I think I'm gonna end up creating the marketer teamie that's going to help me with this messaging because I don't know if our community teamie will be able to do that. Specifically on this front end stuff, but we'll see. The real world case studies, methodologies, connect with fellow practitioners. All right, so first name, last name, email, required checkbox, terms and conditions. Again, it's saying maybe this is something we would have to do because I think compliance-wise we're supposed to start doing that stuff now. I don't even know, but I believe that's true. And I probably will have a compliance teamie that would let me know that, so I can figure that stuff out too. And what I'm doing in my head right now is already planning out the other teamies I got to build later today. That's why I'm not starting on this stuff today, because I know I might have some other teamies that I want to have involved. But again, I wanted to show you how to work with your teamies. So we're using one right now to kind of work it out. Then we're going to take all of that and give it to the other one. That's kind of the idea. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just be doing it with more teamies that have yet to be created. So today's teamie creation day. Okay, welcome, Matt. So deliver immediate tangible. Prompt's going to ask them a system. They want to build their own problem. Turn to the form question. AI prompt design to help them craft a compelling introduction. Okay, that's cool. Let's see that. I think that'll work. I think that's a cool idea. Builder's manifesto. I'm not so keen on the word manifesto, but we'll change that later. Showcases. Show your work philosophy, which is very true. And this is a system, not a trick, which is very important. Yes, exactly right. This is actually useful. Kind of personal operating system in a way, I guess. Yeah. And then plug in a showcase. Okay, Pal Squared, community structure, code of content, introductions, action steps. All right, so let's see where this goes for sake of demonstration. So I am going to have to redo this part a little bit, and I'm going to, but it's going to be basically like this. The only thing I'm going to do is I'll be working with, like I said, I'm going to start with this one. I'm always going to use this one, but I'll continue it in other ways, I think, too, because I'm going to bring in a marketer bot and things like that and give some of this stuff to the marketer bot. So I know it's going to change, but I'm still going to assume that this copy, so I'm going to basically say, great, let's see it. Let's continue. And then it's going to give me the plan. So what I'm saying is this may not be the exact plan. Because I'm going to go through and give the plan to the marketer bot, and it might change some stuff, right? So some of that might change. However, I'm going to pretend that it's not. We're going to give this plan now to the Fluent Teamie, and that should help me with the tech stack in WordPress with all the Fluent products that we've got going on back there. So it should be able to say, oh, we use Fluent Community for this, or use Fluent CRM for that, or here's what the tags are going to be, or whatever. Okay, so now we're going to wait for this. And again, the words are going to change. I'm not getting too caught up in that. I'm not looking for amazing quality copy here because this Teamie is not made for that. It's made for the structure and the strategy of it. And then I can give it kind of the refinement stages. But I got a pretty decent strategy as we go through. And again, it doesn't know anything about RIFf and all that stuff. So I'll be teaching it all this. This is just the starting points. Code of conducts, okay, terms of service. Okay, this is great. Next steps. All right, so now I'm going to provide it. So we're going to copy the response. So now I'm going to go into, I'm going to mic kind of an introduction of what I'm doing. And then I'm going to put the response. I'm just going to copy it into a little section, a little container I'm going to make. And then we'll go from there. So here's what I'm going to say to this. Below this, you will see there is a game plan that was made by another Teamie called the Community Teamie. Now, Community Teamie helped come up with a general strategy, offered some suggestions in terms of potential copy and messaging, and definitely has a good structure going on. Now what we need is to analyze and work with the Fluent Teamie, which is you, to break down every component that's in here and think through how we're going to build this using all of the different Fluent products in the most useful ways. We want to make sure the right integrations are there. We want to make sure we have the right tagging structure. We want to make sure everything is thought through so that it works now, but also helps us grow and scale into the future. So please look for those opportunities as well. So I'm going to give you the the plan itself. Go through that, break it down, do whatever is useful to make sure that we kind of get the impact that we're looking for here. And of course, I'm open for ideas. So if you have anything that's like, oh, hey, here's something they should have suggested, something that we should do, definitely do that. But the idea is that by the end of this, we're going to have a step-by-step sort of instruction manual, like an assembly manual that will help me assemble everything in the exact right way so that we have the impact as fast as possible. And ideally, I would like to get this done with timestamps to let me know like how long everything is going to take so that I can plan out how to actually get this done. So with that, please review everything and let me know your thoughts. All right, so now we've got the RIFf. Now I'm going to say, here's our container. So I'm going to say the plan. Dun, dun, dun. So this is how I do a container. So I'm just kind of doing these little open closes. We're pasting the plan in, which all I did was just copy the previous thing. That's all I did coming through there. And so now I'm going to submit, and it's going to go through, and it's going to sort of digest all of that and try to figure out what it was thinking, what the other teamie was thinking. What I'm hoping is that because this is the first time I've tested this, is what I'm expecting is that I get kind of a series of really specific, okay, here's what we're going to be doing. Here's the phases. Here's the overall idea. Here's what we're going to break it down. And then something specific that I can go like, oh yeah, I know that's in Fluent. Like it's speaking Fluent language and WordPress direction. So I can go in there and assemble everything. That's what I'm trying to do. And if it does that, I'm good. Like that's what I'm looking for. And the two teamies I know are going to work together pretty well. It's just that I'm going to feed another one, a different, more revised plan once I get the marketer bot to take a look at that first plan. So I want the marketer bot looking at it first. Then I might revisit it back with the community bot, bounce them back and forth a couple times. Then once I have that really refined plan that's been bounced through the teamies, then it goes to this one. And what I'm testing for is if that plan structure is about the same or roughly the same, how does this one work, right? How does it take this in? So this is really kind of a test conversation, but this is what I'll be doing in real life. So as we test our teamies. All right. The plan from Community TV, that's funny. I think it's teamie, but that's okay. Okay, so the brand alignment, automate to amplify, this is very true. Require tools for CRM, Fluent Farms, the community plugin. Now, this is what is shocking to me. It doesn't see that we use Fluent. So I have to really make sure it's doing that. I'm not sure why that's not there. It should be. Core logic and tagging, systems brain, and then community lead, community member. Okay, this is some of the stuff. The tagging structure, it actually went through yesterday when I was testing it out a little bit just to see what it could do by itself. And I like the ideas on the tagging structure. But every time I go through this, it's going to come up with a new tagging structure. So eventually I need to figure out what a tagging structure is going to be and just discuss that. Once I have that, and that's what I'm going to do that, I'm going to make that knowledge. So I'll make that a fixed knowledge that all the teamies will have so they all know how to tag. So that's how this tagging thing is going to be taken care of. So that's something else you won't see, but that's what I'm going to do to solve that problem or to make this more useful, a better impact. All right. So now I've got 25 minutes to kind of set up the CRM basics, which makes sense. Now we're going to do there's the pages, terms of service, and then front door, Fluent Forms, new form. Here's our fields. So this is giving me the specific directions. This is perfect. And I'm somewhat familiar with some of the interfaces here. So I know that this is not making up things. I know that where these are. So this makes sense for me. And then there's the integration. We enable the dot. Okay, perfect. This is good. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, so that's phase one. So there's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, so roughly 40 minutes-ish, let's say. 45 minutes, another hour and a half. There's our automations. We're building a new automation. There's a custom email we're going to do. Obviously, those are still going to change with the new plan. I'm putting in merge fields that it knows. Yay. So that's perfect. It gives me a specific assembly. Look at this recipe. This is perfect. This is great. Then the community hub. This is the stuff we will change because it's going to change with that. So that's, I'm going to have to make a little more robust. And then we'll have that done. But this is exactly going along the way I wanted it to. Community onboarding completion. All 3 emails, separate automation listens for when a member becomes active. Okay, so check this out. The Fluent, right? Because it knows Fluent is coming up with ideas because I asked it to. Remember, that was the point. I'm not trying to let the AI tell me what to do. I am telling the AI to tell me what to do with AI so that I can get stuff done. Like, that's what's happening, right? But I'm the one in control of this. I'm the one telling myself what to do here. Remember, we're all just thinking to ourselves and talking to ourselves when we're working with AI. Just be very clear of that. The more you stay aware of that, the easier this thing gets. So, and certainly the more useful. So in this case, it's saying we need another. So there was the onboarding blueprint, because I asked the community about the onboarding blueprint. The community builder didn't, or the community teamie didn't take it further. The Fluent teamie is like, hey, you're missing another automation that should be in here while we're here. Why don't we just do this when they create a post? Because it knows that Fluent can do this, right? That's why I asked it that. That also helps me understand how I can maybe enhance the community one. Because now I can say, you know what? Community one really needs to know what Fluent community can do so that it comes up with these other ideas too. Because maybe it didn't realize that, right? But I'm not sure. It also could be, I could just say, hey, what's the next sequence? Any other sequences we need? And I can continue to do that. All right. So anyway, I love this idea. And I could really just give this to the other one, just copy this out and say, hey, let's riff on, now that we got the first one done, what do you think about this? You know, and then that's how the teamies are now working together. So my Fluent teamie is now going back to my community teamie to help guide that conversation and make it even better. So this is them impacting each other. Now remember, right now, this is me essentially copying and pasting with a little bit of riffing in between the outputs and the inputs between these different gems, right, that we're doing from a Gemini gems in this case, or again, ChatGPTs if that's what you use, or Claude, it doesn't matter. The point of it is what I am eventually doing, and why I'm doing it this way is because I know I'm going to automate all of this. I know I'm going to get out of the way for some of this. I know I'm going to want train the teamies to work together tighter and tighter and tighter and have more useful conversations more and more, so that eventually I'm out of the way and I've got an automation that's passing and doing the thing that I do in the middle. There's another AI maybe that does that, or another teamie that's the me in the middle that's helping stitch things together. So I'm very cognizant that I am wanting to make sure that impact happens. That's why I'm building what I'm doing here in this way and trying to make it so structured so that I get it's never going to be an identical result ever, but it should be roughly similar, right? So that 80%, like basically most of the results are most of the time, most of the thing that I'm expecting. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And in that case, what I'm really expecting is new, impactful, amazing, like just shocking, where I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that's amazing. I never had that idea. Let's make this thing happen. Oh, I can do this now? Cool, let's do that. Oh, that only took 5 minutes. Excellent, great, let's go. Another impact, another impact, another impact. That's what we're trying to do. Okay. So user creates the post. We can clearly do the tags stuff. That's great. So yeah, this is awesome. All right. So at this point, I'm confident, very confident that these two things will get me going on what I need to do to build. And it doesn't look like it's going to take all that long. So I got the entire weekend to do what probably will end up being, I don't know, I guess in five hours of work, maybe. Actually, it probably won't even be that, to be honest. It might only be a few hours of assembly. I would imagine maybe 3 hours, I'm going to guess. And I'll let you know. I'll let you know how long it took as we go through. That's my goal, is if I could do it within 3 hours, that'd be cool. But I'm open to 5, to say maybe 3 to 5 hours for something amazing that lasts kind of forever, like, because I don't have to rebuild it again, right? Once it's up, it's up, right? Once the community structure's in there, it's in there. Once the funnels are kind of built out, now I have funnels, and then it's just adding another funnel. That's a lot easier than building out the whole structure and the tagging structure and all of that. But if you think about it, 3 to 5 hours to kind of get all that done. And yes, you're spending some time with AI, but I'm talking to you more than I'm talking to the AI here. Like I can really get this thing done much, much faster off camera, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So working with all those. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here at this point. Again, if you've got any questions on anything, pop them in the comments. Check out the other live streams if there's a link or something you're looking for. We always have links. I also put this in the chat so everybody has it. So this is the links to the big giant Google Doc. This Google Doc has the RIFf on it right now, which is the one that started it all. You can see that on the first live stream we did on this channel. where it shows that. And this is what we started. We literally, and I did this on purpose, we built this so that I could do this along with you. So I literally used the RIFf to create the Teamie factory, which is now creating Teamies, which is now starting to work together. And you can start to see how I'm showing you how I'm escalating these, right? And kind of doing it quickly here, because we're going to be doing other showcases where I'll slow down some of this and do a lot more of the nuanced training. And that's what kind of This Is Your Mind on AI is going to do a lot of that. But I wanted to kind of let you see pretty quickly within 4 or 5 live streams, oh, I see what this guy's doing. It's like we started with just traditional prompting, and we very quickly moved into AI prompting to creating these things that are now tools that we can use for specific reasons, thought tools that we can use to think through things, to create new ideas, to have better impacts in our own lives. In this case specifically with AutomatedWith.tech, because that's what I need to do, but I'm also doing this in other areas of my life. The thing is, I'm not going to show that here on this channel because that doesn't make sense in YouTube. I'm going to keep it with AutomatedWith.tech or AutomatedWith.tech, but I'm going to show it through the showcases. Which of course, maybe you'll see some of that, at least the backstage part of that stuff here, but the front stage, you'll see that in other areas, wherever they end up being. Soon to be determined by, I'm sure, a conversation with AI as I riff through. All right, so with that, thanks again for being here, hanging out. I appreciate you all. And especially because it is every single one of you was in the future on this one. And I knew that going in, that these would be like these single streams where I'm quite literally talking to myself in my present moment, but very aware that I am talking to you in the future. So in your future moment, in your present moment, I guess, my future moment. But anyway, thank you again for being here, for connecting, and drop any comments you have. I'm happy to help, and look forward to seeing you on the next live stream. Take care.